Hey, Master Yoda. I need a little bit of some guidance, so I thought you would be the best one to ask. I was out partying the other night, and I met this really cool guy named Arthur. We seemed to hit it off really well, but when I got home, I did a little Facebook stalking and I did a little Google stalking, and I found out some really weird stuff about him. Like, for starters, there's this girl named Caroline who one day she was having a party in her apartment, and he thought that they were being too loud, and he felt like it was invading his privacy. So, you know what he does? He decides to barge in and rips her out of her own apartment and then throws her down the stairs so he doesn't have to deal with her anymore. Seems he got charged with assault for that one, and even after spending 6 years fighting it in the courts, they still found him at fault and forced him to pay for whatever recovery services she needed until she passed away. He got stuck doing that for at least 25 years. I also found these really weird diary entries about all of his sexual escapades with his best friend, Antheim. It seems that whenever the two of them got together, they got in a hell of a lot of trouble. They would flirt with everybody, they would make sexual advances at everybody, and whenever they got rejected, all they did was go home and find the best whore they could and spend their nights alone with them, which is kind of weird to me. And then when he's not out on sexual adventures, seems there's also a girl named Flora that he tried to get married to. Arthur is in like his 30s or his 40s, but this girl Flora was a teenager. He just happened to randomly see her one day, and to let her know that he was interested, he gave her a bowl of fruit and flat out said, "I'm going to ask your father for your hand in marriage." Luckily, Flora was disgusted and said no, and her dad was also disgusted and said that it would be a bad idea. But I thought it was a little weird that he tried to court somebody that was at least 20 or 30 years younger than he was. And then after Flora, there was this weird Berlin chorus girl. Her name was Caroline as well. They spent about 10 years together, and while they were in a committed relationship, she went out and had a lot of affairs on the side. But according to Arthur, he didn't seem to care. He was all like, monogamous kind of sucks. I'm not really into it. We have sexual desires, and we should be able to enjoy that with as many people as we desire. But it seems this particular relationship came to an end because of Caroline's illegitimate son. When Arthur tried to move from Berlin to Frankfurt, he offered to take Caroline, but not her illegitimate child. Caroline wasn't having any of that, and she chose her son over Arthur. So that relationship very abruptly came to an end. And then after kind of digging into his personal dating history, I found all these really weird log entries that were focused on this concept of sex. All it did was talk about how sex is the ultimate motive for everything, and that when the opportunity for sexual pleasure presents itself to us, we're going to ignore all forms of common sense and go for whoever the individual is, even if we know that we should avoid a sexual encounter with that person. He talks about how this desire for sex is unconscious, and that when we pursue a sexual experience, we think that it's because of our own conscious behaviors, where in fact, it's actually judged by an internal unconscious desire. So I don't know if this relationship's gonna work or not, but I thought maybe you could give me some advice as to what I should do. What do you think, Yoda? Let's see here. We've got a list of all my sexual conquests and intimate detail. I've got names, I've got phone numbers, favorite positions, you name it, I got it. No, Pam, I am not disgusting. And yes, Stuart, I am putting my best self forward. Thank you very much. Ugh. Fine, Julius. I'll do your stupid thought experiment. I guess if I had to have feelings, well, I would have been scared by Pam's interruptions, and then everything else, and then everybody else starting to wonder why I was bragging and talking about this list of mine. No, Julius, I don't have real feelings. But if I had to, well, I would say that I wasn't trying to brag or make it seem like I was okay with this list. I guess I was just trying to set the record straight. What do you mean, why did I jump in immediately, Julius? I mean, I guess if you must ask. Hey, whoa, what's going on? Sorry. What do you mean I left you guys hanging? Sorry. Looks like I lost my focus for a second and I turned inward a little bit. I guess I was quick to reveal what I did for self-protection. I didn't like knowing that Pam had that kind of dirt on me and that she would be able to drop it at any time. I guess revealing it myself was just easier. These notes also help me keep track of all the women that I have sex with. I keep note of all their personal details, so if or when I see them again, I can make them feel like I remember them and our night together. And yes, Tony, I do need that list to keep track of all the different women I have slept with. Hey, now that Philip is done talking, if everyone doesn't mind, Rebecca, would like to share something that I've never told anybody. I haven't even told Julius about this. So, 2 weeks before my wedding, while I was away in Las Vegas for work business, I found myself in a really intimate conversation with a very handsome young man. Near the end of our conversation, he leaned in real close and he straight up asked me what my fee was. I looked him straight in the eye, said $150 for one night, and we spent the night together. I did this multiple times throughout my trip. Hell, I haven't even told Jack, my husband. Tony, put your damn wallet up. This isn't funny. I'm not gonna. You can't pay me for those kind of services. And thank you, Stuart. I guess I never thought of it as my enjoying final moments of freedom before getting married. I guess my concern of closing possibilities really did get played out when I was in Las Vegas. Oh, and Pam, thank you for introducing Julius to that story about Grendel. That quote, alternatives exclude, was really helpful in getting me through the whole ordeal. And yes, Julius, I was so ashamed that I didn't mention it to you while we were working one-on-one before I got married. I guess there was a part of me that was ashamed by being so excited about breaking the law. I mean, I fantasized about it for weeks afterwards. Just this idea of being so primitive was so enticing. But that's all there is to my story. I guess I just wanted to get it out there so people know, other than me, what happened. Alright, so I guess now it's my turn to talk. Thank you, Rebecca, for giving me the courage to share this particular story. Now, Philip, you know to keep this confidential, right? Philip? Right? Okay, great. Thank you. So, about 13 or 14 years ago, I got stranded in Miami on my way home from a convention in Jamaica. I decided I would spend the night in the airport hotel, and on my way up to the 7th floor, a drunk woman stumbled out of her room. She was emotional, she was upset, so I entered into her room so that I could help console her, and Unfortunately, we ended up having sex. After she fell asleep, I got ready for my early morning trip and left an anonymous message for the hotel that they had a guest in need of medical attention. Tony, no. The problem is not that I had sex. The problem is that I violated my role as a physician. She was sick, and instead of treating her, I had sex with her. And Bonnie, I appreciate the support. Maybe I did give her what she needed, but that's still not the point. I don't need reassurance here. I just wanted to get my story out there, away from the shadows. Also, Bonnie, fine, yes, I guess you're right. Maybe I am awful at accepting help from people, but I'm a doctor. I'm not a patient, and I don't have the luxury of being off duty. And as for the positives, Julius, I guess you could say I've been a damn good doctor since and have not violated the ethics of my profession since that night. So, Julius, maybe you're right. Maybe I have finally paid my debt after all. And now it's finally my turn to speak. Thank you, Julius, for giving me a moment to talk to my group members. I guess I'd like to comment on everything that I've heard today. In a sense, I guess I do somewhat agree with Philip. We shouldn't fill ourselves with guilt over natural acts such as sex. So, Stuart and Rebecca, you two do deserve to forgive yourselves. And no, Stuart, this does not put me in a weird position. I can forgive you because you feel obvious guilt and use the experience to better yourself. You even made sure she was okay and taken care of afterwards. Philip, however, his behavior was unforgivable, predatory, and without remorse. Yes, Bonnie, I did catch Philip's final remark about sex robbing the person of conscience and destroying relationships. However, I don't know if you could classify that as a sign of remorse. Now, Rebecca, I guess you are right about that. No one is perfect or without sin, so yes, he who is without sin be the first to throw the stone. Nobody is perfect. So I guess I'd like to end by reminding Philip that you need to listen to what Julius just told you. You have received a wonderful gift from Rebecca and Stuart. I hope that you'll complete his homework assignment and that you'll figure out exactly what that gift might be.